Hey guys, I'm Ebony,
I'm Tracy.
and we're talking about finances and
Wealth today.
let's get into it, y'all. So,
All right.
Tracy, girl, help us out.
So, I guess my question is, why do you think the church, or should I say Christians, are struggling in the area of finances?
You know what? It's so funny. I was having this conversation with a lovely friend of mine the other day, and one of the things that I'm learning is that because we don't really understand, we're not teaching godly principles when it comes to financing. I know a lot of people struggle because we just want the education.
Yeah.
You just need to know, and there's nothing wrong with educating yourself on finances. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with budgeting. There's nothing wrong with, you know what I'm saying, saving, building towards wealth. I believe that if we learned more about wealth building, um, in our faith centers
Mm-hmm.
and what the word says about wealth building, I believe that more believers would be susceptible, because one of the common misunderstandings about money is, oh, this is mammon and you can't serve God and mammon.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, that's true. That's why we don't serve it. Nobody
Right.
said we had to serve it.
Right.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
why we
But
don't
it's a
serve it.
tool. No,
Right.
you're not supposed to serve anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But this tool right now is how we get what we need in the earth, on earth. So I think that helping people get people educated on God's perspective on money and wealth is what will break a lot of chains off of the minds of believers who feel like, I don't want to worry about money because that's mammon. I don't want to worry about money because that's materialism. I don't want to worry about money, X, Y, and Z reason.
But why is it that the people are kind of steer away from like churches or pastors who give prosperity messages?
Because I know for myself personally, um, my first contact with a prosperity pastor was Creflo Dollar,
Mm.
and how that whole thing went down, and they was diving into the finances, and then they were saying he done bought himself a helicopter, and then they was complaining about how the church congregation is suffering. So whenever you hear a pastor just talk about prosperity, it already has a negative connotation because of earlier um, encounters with pastors who preached, prosperity and all of that. But prosperity is very much so biblical.
Right.
But it's this whole connotation like, oh, the pastor's rolling in a Rolls Royce and everybody's in a broke down Honda, you know what I'm saying? And they can't pay their bills. But their tithes is what's funding the pastor being able to buy a Bentley, a jet, and all that stuff. But is the pastor giving back? You know what I mean?
I see.
So yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's the job or the responsibility of the pastor to actually teach his congregation how to get wealth. And I think
Yeah.
that's part of the problem is that pastors have they're driving around in these fancy cars, and not all pastors, so I'm not going to say all pastors, but there's a lot of pastors who have nice houses and cars and things like that, and so their congregation is looking at them like, okay, what's going on? But
Mm-hmm.
then a lot of the congregation is broke and busted and
Mm-hmm.
disgusted and can't pay their bills and can't do
Mm-hmm.
all these things. So
And the
I
last thing you want to hear is a preacher get on you because you ain't pay your 10%. And right now your light bill is running behind.
right,
And then
exactly.
you rolling in a hoopty. How about you give me my light bill money? You know what I'm saying? Help me out.
Your light bill. And I think, I mean, in a sense, I do believe that like the church is supposed to help give back to its congregation. I also believe that the congregation needs to equip themselves
Mm,
on how to get to a place financially where you are able to do for yourself and do for your family and also be able to give to other people. Not everybody is going to be wealthy, right?
hmm
I
Well,
just,
rich,
or
right?
rich,
Yeah.
but I do believe that it is the responsibility of the congregation as well to kind of get that knowledge because it's also in the word as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
Two things then. So, I how about we help them get that knowledge today?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
then we probably won't deep dive into it too much, right? Only just because I mean we could.
Hmm.
And then number two, what are some resources that people can, you know what I'm saying, tap into um to start getting themselves educated and equipped financially. I think financial literacy is a huge thing. There's many believers with big visions
Right.
that God is putting down into, but where they get attacked the most is in
Mm-hmm.
their finances.
Mm-hmm.
And then the funny thing is, believers get attacked the most when it comes to finances and resources, but believers also shun prosperity gospels, or not even a prosperity gospel, but
Right.
they shun prosperity messages and teachings. You know what I mean? Because it's not a gospel, but it is a teaching. There is, you know what I'm saying, a kingdom principle and understanding around finances. But I just think that practically, let's get financial literacy, and let's um, equip them with biblical references, um, and kind of go from there. And I think if they want something deeper, maybe we can talk about what we can do for them from on a deeper level.
Sure. Sounds good. So we were talking to a friend the other day. And I think our question was, how do they see money?
That's
And
so
what were
good.
some of the answers that they gave on how they
I
saw
think
money?
one of the biggest things that they saw money as is like it was more so like like materialism,
Mm-hmm.
or an idol, like the big golden calf, it wasn't a good perspective. It wasn't a kingdom perspective on money. And one of their biggest things is they didn't want their heart to be, so fixated on chasing money,
Right.
right? And they were just very like, oh, I don't want my heart, you know what I'm saying, to become materialistic because of
Mm-hmm.
what they came out of. You know what I mean? So they don't like whenever you hear someone says, hey, you're meant to have, this and you're meant to have that, they immediately just reject it, shut down, or get triggered because they're like, no, it's not what it's about. It's not, it's about passion. It's about your call. It's about your assignment. But a lot of people have passion, call, and assignment, and they don't know how to handle finances, and they can't really reach the heights that they need to.
Right, very true. So, I think just in listening to what you said, like there's scriptures that back up,
Mm-hmm.
God saying that He gives the ability and the power to get wealth.
Mm.
So what that says to me is that we can have the ability to get wealth.
Tracy.
And so if we don't have that, then that says there's something that's going on in your life that's not allowing you to get to the place where you have, and wealth is different for different people. When I hear wealth, I hear something big. It doesn't sound small, right? But go ahead. Sorry, you have a question.
That is so good. I think this morning, driving in my car today, I realized that wealth and riches are not always monetary.
Mm-hmm. True.
You can have a richness of grace, a richness of favor,
Mm-hmm.
a richness of, you can have, health is your wealth now. You ever heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
So I want us to also think about, you know, richness and wealth in different aspects and not just money. But yes, let's talk about the tool money.
Right. Okay. So one scripture that comes to mind for me is Deuteronomy 8:18.
Mm,
And it says, "But thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it is he that giveth the power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant which he swore unto thy fathers, as it is this day." And so that what that says to me is that again, he gives us the power to get wealth.
mm-hmm,
And then there's so many other scriptures too. I think Proverbs 10:4
mm-hmm.
is that God's talking about, and I'll go there instead of trying to paraphrase it for you guys really quickly. All right. And Proverbs 10:4 says, "He becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich."
Mm,
And so, what that says to me too is that, like a diligent hand, like God will bring you wealth.
mm,
You know what I mean?
mm,
Like, again, like there's so many scriptures that we can go through where it talks about, um, that God brings wealth, he brings prosperity, he brings all those things, right? Also, too, like one of the biggest ones that I think everybody knows is like God supplies all of our needs. You know what I mean? So if we are walking around and our needs are not even being supplied, then that says to me something is wrong. So what I typically do with people is try to get to the root of why you see money the way that you see it, because to me that means that you see it the wrong way, right? Like just the person we were talking to the other day, like there's usually like some fear that's behind how you view or see money.
mm-hmm.
And so because of that,
They feared. veering off and becoming materialistic. They feared serving money and money becoming their god. You know what I mean? That's what they feared. So
And
they.
I hear that, but again, like here, this when we throw around this word fear, right?
Mhm.
They feared this, they feared that. First of all, God didn't give you the spirit of fear, so
Mhm.
let's like you shouldn't have a fear about
Right.
that in the first place, right? I think it's about placing your priorities in the right place. Like He's a rewarder of those who diligently seek Him. So if you are seeking God and you are in His Word and you are in His presence, you know what I mean. And these things come like money comes to you or positions or opportunities or whatever that looks like that brings you to a place where you have more money, then you have to remember that it's God who brought you there, one, and also two, like to just continue to stay on the path of like I didn't do this by myself. It's humility that keeps you in the place of continuing to get and continuing to grow.
Yeah, and to be established in the earth.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Um what do you say to people that say, well, why is it that the, and it's so funny because David had the same question in Psalms, why do the wicked prosper? But there was an answer to David. And because one of the biggest questions that people say is, well, you see the wicked, they're prospering and they don't even believe in God. And
Mhm.
they doing all these other alternative, you're going through alternative means to get what they have. What do you say about that, right? So I wanted to talk to that angle as
Okay.
well.
While you look up what you're looking up about David, I'll say this, like at the end of the day, there's also principles behind getting money, right?
Okay.
There's principles behind wealth. There's principles around everything in life when you really think about it. So whether you are doing the right thing or not sometimes, and when you're not doing the right thing, yes, there are times that you see people get things right who aren't doing necessarily the right thing. However, you're not going to go higher than your character is willing to keep you.
Mm-hmm.
So if your character is not in a place to have, and this is outside of, this is in the Bible, but also the people in the world can live by this principle too,
Mm-hmm.
is your character is also, if your character is so flawed, like you could get there, but you're not going to keep it
Mm-hmm.
because you'll never go higher than your character is willing to keep you. You just won't.
I love that.
Mhm.
It's so funny that you say that. Psalms 37, David's direct teaching on the prosperity of the wicked, right?
Mhm.
So it basically says these things. And this is the answer to, well, what about when the wicked prosper? Don't envy the wicked when they seem to prosper.
Seem. That's what it
Seem.
is. Mhm.
Look at the word seem while I keep going.
Mhm.
Their success is temporary. Their roots are shallow. Their end is destruction. The righteous will inherit the land. Will. And God upholds the righteous even when the wicked rise. And guess what? Rises for a moment.
Right.
A moment. What does seem
Because the
mean?
wealth of the
Mhm.
sinner is laid up for the just. We know that
Yes,
too, right?
that is
So
correct.
that goes back. What that reminds me of is that word that you said, seem. So
Mm,
seem means give the impression or sensation of being something or having a particular quality. So seemingly have something, but you
yeah.
don't really have it.
Because a lot of them are killing themselves.
Yeah, because they're
So
not happy because something is missing. And the something that's missing is Jesus. Like it just because you have money,
they ain't
and
got
that
peace.
again, there's a lot of people that have money that are envying their idolaters of money. And so they're not happy. They
Mm-mm.
just seem like they're happy. They seem like they're getting it. They are, but they're not happy.
Yeah. God tells us to not worry about them because they will soon wither like grass.
Mm-hmm.
That's Psalms 37, 1 to 2.
Right.
Another one that says, do not fret when people succeed in their ways,
Mm-hmm.
when they carry out wicked schemes. Don't
Right.
don't fret. That's verse 7 of 37. And then 12 to 13 says, the wicked plot against the righteous, right? The wicked plot against the righteous, but the Lord laughs at the wicked man, for he knows their day is
It's
coming.
coming. Yes,
So
it's
I
coming.
understand when we're looking at what's going on in the government, we're looking at how laws are changing. It feels almost like we're in Egypt again, where they're making it harder for us, you know what I'm saying,
Mhm.
to gain an earning. They're increasing, you know what I'm saying, what it means just to get a nickel. You know what I mean? That's what Pharaoh did to Israel. He increased he made it
Yeah.
harder. That's what's happening. But God said he's laughing at them. And I know it doesn't feel good right now to us, but understand that the God that you serve laughs at the wicked, the same very people who is trying to oppress you. He's laughing at them because he knows their day is coming,
Yeah.
according to Psalms 37.
And also, I'm a big firm believer of it doesn't matter who is in office in this current moment, right? Because I always think about God is the one that gives promotion,
Come
right?
on.
He's the only person that, the only, I should say, God, King, however, whatever you want to call him. He's the only one that can um, open the door and close the door. So if those people are in that position, they're in that position for a reason, right?
Mm.
But I think at the end of the day, you have to always remember that God is in control. He's in control. So there's nothing on this earth that he wouldn't give you or get to you because you are covered by him. You're covered. You're covered by his blood.
I love that.
Mhm.
Um, I've never seen the righteous forsaken.
And you
I want us
won't.
to turn our minds around, our mindset
Mm-hmm.
around, and start believing the word over your fear, your worry, what people are saying. And if you have a belief and you go to the word and it's completely different, which one you gonna let go, the word or your belief?
Right. The
And
word.
and you gotta let that belief go. And it
You
can
have
be
to.
and you feel like that belief is security, but it's not. It's robbing you of the wealth and the riches and the promises of God.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And we know that his word renews, it transforms and it renews our mind, right? So I think what's happening too is that people have the wrong mindset about money. They have the wrong mindset about wealth. And I think you can take it back to so many things like your childhood, stuff that people have said to you, like the environments you grew up in, all of those things. But if you were to take all those things away, just try to start fresh and not think about your past and what you've gone through and just start completely fresh and
mm,
trust God. And if you believe that God is really one, he owns everything on this earth, everything,
mm,
it's his,
mm.
regardless, it's his. You have to believe that. You also have to believe that he's your father, like he created you. And when you think about a parent, when you really think about a parent, there isn't a parent, a true parent. I'm not going to say everybody because everybody's not a parent. Everybody's not a mom. They're not a dad, right? And you can also say guardians too because sometimes you're raised by your
Guardians
grandparents, your
play that
aunts,
role.
uncles,
Yeah.
whoever that is. But someone who truly loves you does not want to see you struggle. They're just, if you were to really think about who raised you and they did a great job, or maybe they didn't do a great job, but you know in your heart that they loved you, like just think if they were the richest person in this world, they had everything, like, do you not believe that they would give that to you? Like, would they not give that to
Mm.
you? You know what I mean? Like, when I think of my parents, like if they were, let's say, trillionaires or whatever, they were king of the world, whatever, queen of the world, whatever that looks like, I can't imagine them not giving me or putting me in position to where I would have.
Mm.
Like, I can't imagine. So, just in that thought alone, like, think about God. Like, He knows every hair on our head. He loves us. Why would He want us to be in a place where we can't
Fend
pay
for
our bills,
ourselves.
we
Yeah.
can't fend for ourselves, we can't eat, we can't, all these things? Why would he want that? That's not what he wants for us. And if you go in his word, again, his word is truly inspiration to us to show us like he loves us, he wants to provide, he is our provider, he is our help in a time of need, like he's all of the things. And I think people just don't understand and really trust that about him.
Mm.
And you have to get to the place that you trust him.
I love that. I really, really do. Get to the place where you trust them, because trust, once you start to transition your mind and you start to lean on the word of God, anything we lean on, anything we sit on, we trust. I
Mm-hmm.
trust this chair not to fall. You see what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing, is that now you're giving up your old ways, your old systems, your old
Mm-hmm.
way of thinking, right? So that you can receive something new. Now, in receiving that new thing is it's the equivalent, the exact equivalent of you sitting in a chair, right? You have to trust that that chair is not going to fall.
Yeah. No one goes into it sitting in a chair and they think, oh my God, this chair is going to fall.
Nobody
No one
does.
thinks that.
We've built so much faith in chairs these days,
You put a lot of faith in a lot of things, though.
but
When
not God.
Yes.
because nobody has tried him enough to build their faith like that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has stuck to their way, their system, belief systems, and they've just stayed stuck there. God says, "Taste and see that I am good."
Right.
But if you can't taste, then you can't see.
Right.
You see what I'm
And if you
saying?
don't know him, then you don't know that he's good.
You
Like,
don't know that he's good. So
you
when you're
know,
getting to know that he's good, you're gonna have to trust the process. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna
mhm.
have to trust it. And that's the thing is that people they're playing it safe with God. They're playing
Yeah,
it so safe.
because
They're
people,
scared.
true, people are, and God told me this a while ago, and I shared this with you before too, and we may have said it on an episode before, but a lot of people read the Bible through their trauma. That's why
Mm,
people are stuck in places that they shouldn't be stuck in, is because
they
you're
choose their
looking at
trauma.
it through the wrong lens. You're not looking at it through how God sees you. The other day when I was studying this, is like God had me type, "Do you know how God sees you?" That's a question for everybody. Do
That's
you
good.
really know how God sees you?
Yeah.
And if you really know how God sees you, then you should look at your circumstance and be like, "Wow, is this okay for me to be in this circumstance? Like,
Hmm.
God, do you want me to be in this circumstance?"
Hmm.
And most likely the answer is no. And then it's like, okay, one, how did I get into this circumstance? Are there some lessons, some things that I can learn? God, show me myself in this situation.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of times it's really, when you look at it, it's us. It's disobedience while we are in the situations that we're in. You know what I mean? It's not that God was never there talking to us. It's because we chose our own path. And when you choose your own path, sometimes the outcome of that is not
God's
putting
best
you
or
on
will.
in God's best. So like, you can't go further in life beyond the point of where you see yourself.
Mm.
You can't. And so if you see yourself as, you know, I'm not enough, or you're not enough. I hate to say I, because I don't want to claim that over myself, but you're not enough, or you're not worthy, and not all these things, and you don't see yourself the way your father sees you. That's why you're
That's a
stuck in
problem.
those
And that's
places.
and that's the devil's playground.
Right.
Whenever we have a broken view of who we are, we need to
Mhm.
invite God into that space so he can heal that perspective.
Heal it.
Because if we don't, that is the devil's playground. The devil plays in the ground of ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
loves the ground of ignorance because the ground of ignorance is the perfect soil for his seeds.
Yes. You said it, the perfect soil for his seeds. And some practical things that you can take from this, that I was researching yesterday, and what God was sharing with me too, is that one is like, you got to write down like how you see yourself. Like,
Mm,
describe yourself, like write it down. Just
mm.
how you see yourself. Forget like, don't try to drum up in your mind like what you think it is or what you think the answer is. Write down how you truly see yourself today, right? And describe yourself in detail.
I love
Like,
that.
literally describe yourself in detail.
Yeah.
And then start to speak kindly to yourself
Mm.
after you write those things down, and you're looking at them, and they're not always kind, what you say about yourself.
It isn't.
It isn't. But that's not what God is saying about you.
And imagine you continually sowing that seed and then watering it every day. That
Yes,
thing is
for
going to
years.
grow.
And it festers and it grows.
Stronghold.
Mm-hmm. Yep, there it is. And then some other things that I wrote down too is like, create a list of 100 things that you desire.
Mhm.
That's hard for people. I know Steve Harvey says
Because they fake
300.
want to feel like I'm selfless. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but this is not, no,
It's all fake.
no. God said
I
he will,
desire this. It's okay to tell your dad what you want.
it is okay, and be specific. You have
That's
to,
materialistic, Tracy.
but it's not. It's not. It's not. Like, it really is not, because again, you can't go higher than where you see yourself.
You can pray for health, but you can't pray for wealth. You can't pray for
Right.
witches. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm saying people don't mind saying, God, I pray to have healthy bones and healthy this, but they will never pray, God, I pray to have a savings of this much and that much. But they
Why?
can go into detail about their health,
But
that they
we're
want good health, but they don't want a good bank account. They don't
right.
want a health.
Why?
I just don't
Why?
understand.
Why?
But
But then
just
you'll
right there,
get,
that
but
triggers
then,
somebody.
but hang on a second. But then before I give y'all the rest of this list, then you'll get on somebody's little what do you call it, Zoom, where they tell you to put down thousands of dollars, and you'll figure out a way to put down that thousands of dollars because they've made you promises that they really can't keep. Because
Come
first
on.
of all, can nobody keep promises, one, that God didn't give you? Two, they cannot keep promises. They can't make you promises when you are stuck in bondage.
Come on.
Because even if you take somebody's course and you're still stuck in this bondage where you don't know how to get out of that bondage, that course is going to do nothing for you.
And you
If
just
you don't, if
spent
they don't teach you how to
thousands.
budget, if they don't teach you how to be a good steward over what you currently have, and how to be a good steward over what's coming to you, and how to position your business and how to position yourself in a way that like God wants us to position ourselves, it doesn't matter if you get on five classes, you will still be in the same position, because it's about renewing your mindset. It's about changing how you think, how you view yourself, how you view money. Whatever's happened in your past should be obsolete.
Mm.
It just should be. It's all of those things. And so, you know, I hate when and you know how I feel about this, I just hate when I see people like taking advantage of people. And I know that as businesses, we are supposed to, have a product and we have to sell it for a certain amount. But I also can see
Mm.
like the people being taken advantage
Mm-hmm.
in these moments,
And
because
manipulated.
and manipulated, because you and I have Airbnbs, and so we know what it's like. We have properties, so we know what it's like to be in that space, but no one's giving you really the full gamut of what that looks like to
And if
be
you
in
need the
that
full
space.
gamut, it's $10,000.
Right. And if you need it, it's $10,000.
That 10,000 could
But
have
that
been used.
$10,000 can get you a few
Can
properties,
get you a few properties, get it
get it
furnished.
furnished. And we could teach you how to do that. Like, but we're not getting ready to break the camel's back for you to get into that, because then what happens is when you spend thousands of dollars to get in these classes, you've lost the money that you need to really
So now
invest.
you got to re up for the next
Now
six
you got to
months.
re-up, and then now it's like, yeah,
And
it's
the game
like
probably done changed by then.
it's changed. It's changed drastically. So I don't like to see that, but I'm gonna digress because I keep going on that. I think another thing that you need to do is to spend time with people who make you feel good, and who call you to a higher place, and don't allow you to sit in situations where they know it's not your best.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And I think you got to pick 3 to 4 friends. And if you don't have those friends, then you got to get rid of who you around. You're going to have to pick 3 to 4 people who embody this and that can help you grow and be better in life,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And then another thing would be to learn more. Like pick 3 books that will help build your faith in this area of finances. And I say, obviously, number one is going to be the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I think you got to know how God sees money and how he wants you to see it. Again, not from a place of idolatry or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but just how he views stewardship and things like that. Um, there's a book I like called The Speed of Trust. And then
Ooh.
there's so many other ones. And I only like The Speed of Trust is because it teaches you, I think a lot of people's problems is trusting people and trusting the process. And so that book really teaches you how to trust and how to build a company from a different perspective. And then teaches you how to trust people and how people can trust you,
Mm.
and how to build relationships. I love that book. But then there's so many others that I love too. But I would say, pick 3 books. And then the last thing would be write down 10 things that God says about you.
Mm.
And you got to get into your word to figure out what he says about you,
Mm-hmm.
you
And
know?
then
Okay.
um look up all the scriptures regarding what diligent wealth, richness, like money
Mm-hmm.
and responsibility and stewardship and stuff like that. And just start there.
Just start
Just
there.
start doing there. Just be diligent in what you're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
um use your money, steward your money, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? If you start there, you'll start to see the principles of God working in your life, and you'll begin to finally be healthy in that space.
You will be. And also become a giver. And I think when you become a sower and a giver, and don't be afraid to give a lot, I think that's what also keeps you away from that mindset of, I got to hoard it all because it's not going to be here tomorrow. No,
Mm-hmm.
give as much as you can to people who need it. And then pass your wisdom and how you got where you were to the next person. And
Mm-hmm.
I think if people do that, that's like a good first place to start
I
with these
love that.
things.
You said pass your wisdom, and I feel like, oh, we creating more buckets for more rain to fall in, and the more buckets we have, the more people can drink.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. And then there's a saying that Henry Ford says, and I always say it this way: if you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you can't. And Henry Ford says it this way: whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
So either way, you're right, you
Mm.
know? So I will plug this in here because this is a shameless plug, but really not shameless. It is shameless, but we are happy to help you guys put together a budget that will help you, one, get out of debt, that will help look at your finances and help put you in a better position. We are also happy to help provide scriptures to you guys, if you need that as well, in these areas, because sometimes I know it is hard to go into the Bible and to find where to start and where to look. So we're happy to do that. But if you go to our website, which is facelessconversations.com, there is a place on there where you can purchase our budget tool, and we will put this budget together. So someone will reach out to you after you purchase it and kind of do an intake with you. And then we will put together a budget that works for where you are and will help you get out of the place that you're in. And that is only $29.99. So $29.99. Not 1,000, not 500, not 200.
Not 10,000.
Literally is $29.99. And I think that's also a good place to start too, is you have to have a budget, and you got to work that budget. You got to work the plan and get with God. What else do you have? I'm sorry.
All right. Accessing God's promises. Not all promises are unconditional. And I'm going to just leave it there. And we'll pick that up next time, because we can give them the scriptures and they'll be sitting there reciting it. And they're like, why it ain't working? Well, baby, some of these promises of God are very much so conditional. And that's something that we have to understand about God. You know what I mean? There is keys that you need to possess to unlock a lot of blessings. And we're going to get into that next time, because it wouldn't be fair to say all you had to do, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, let's teach them what God requires of them. You know what I'm saying? For a lot of things.
Yeah.
For a lot of his promises. I think that's going to be key in equipping the saints. But also know that there's just some things that are law. If you sow, you will reap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you work, you will gain. You know,
Yeah.
you can do those things, but sometimes it's only,
but there's just other things, like you said, conditional, and like being a good steward means you can't be a good steward over. You have to be a good steward over little to be a good steward over much. And so that's one of God's requirements. If you're not being a good steward over this $500 a week that he gives you,
then how he gonna give you
how's he going to
5,000?
give you 5,000 a week? You know what I mean? So that's the part that is conditional in it, is being a good steward. And again, obedience is another one that people want to hop on over.
Can I just drill into this obedience real quick? We got about 3 minutes, and I think it'll be fine.
Okay.
Here it is. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28. Okay. So it's one of the most significant covenants that, God makes with his people Israel. Right. And it's basically blessings for obedience and curses for disobedience. It's a real thing. So basically, here is the stipulation. If Israel listens to God's voice and keeps his commandment, guess what? They're blessed.
Right.
If Israel refuses to obey God, guess what? Here's the reversal of those blessings. You know what I mean? So and I'm just going to read from here. Blessings over your life, right, is exaltation, fruitfulness, prosperity, victory, all of those things. So God sets them high above all nations, right? As long as they take heed to his voice. Hey, I'm going to set you high above all nations. Then another one is blessing in the city and in the field. Come on, we're blessed in the city. Blessing on children, livestock, and crop. You could translate that to today, make it modernize that a little bit. And then provision.
That's a good one.
The barns, kneading bowls, and all work of their hands prosper.
Right.
So you working, but you're like, I work, I do all this thing, and nothing is prospering. Is there something in your life there's some disobedience?
Right.
Oh my God, this is so good. It's blessing me right now.
Yeah.
Victory. Their enemies rise up, but flee in 7 directions. God gives us victory.
Right.
When we're obedient.
Right.
Right. And then establishment. God confirms them as his holy people. Holy basically just means set apart.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So identity blessings. Israel, when they're obedient, they become a sign to the nations, right? You obey God, God blesses, and people like, man, I like their God. You know what I'm saying? Um, so people clearly favored by God, and then they become the head and not the
The
tail,
tail.
above
And
only
not
and not beneath. So,
the lender
and not
and
the
not the borrower.
borrower.
So if you out here borrowing all the time,
You need
that
to
is
look
not,
at,
that's not,
yes,
it's not what God has called us to do. And I'm
no.
not saying when you go buy your first house, you can't borrow the money. I'm just saying,
Mm,
like, God didn't call you to be a borrower, right? He didn't call you to rob Peter to pay Paul. We
mm,
should be lenders. We should be giving out money to other people. We should be giving out clothes. We should be giving out stuff to other people and not being the one that's always borrowing from other people. And then when you, most of the time, the borrower is really robbing Peter to pay Paul, because you ain't
mm.
got it to give it back when you really think about it.
When you give things away, you just know you ain't gonna get that
Yeah,
back.
but you can, but when you can get to that place and be a giver, like even when people, if people ask me to borrow money, I tell people right out the gate,
Want it back?
I don't want it back. And the reason I don't is because I know that if I, most of the time,
Their
you're
borrowing is
not
because
going
they
to give
can't.
it back.
Mm-hmm.
It's because you don't have the ability to give it back most of the time. I'm not saying all people, but
Yeah,
most of the time. And I rather not have my mind thinking about some money and then mess up a friendship and mess up this and mess up that. So I
because
rather,
money
if
be
I got it
destroying
to give to you,
relationships.
then
Yes,
I'm gonna give it to you because you're in need and you need it and
yes.
you got it.
Mm,
But you
that's
can't keep coming back to the well unless
oh
1,000
no.
times. Now we ain't gonna do that.
Because now I got to teach you how to fish, so you don't have to
Right.
keep coming to get my fish.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So basically, the reality is obedience brings life, disobedience brings destruction.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so much to survey in the land when we're talking about the blessings of God, and not just financial blessings, but having a sound mind and peace and all these things
Health in
like
your
that,
body.
health in your body. There's so much more to that. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? When it
Mm-hmm.
comes to God playing a role in that, being the provider of those things for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's just some principles that people have to understand and should understand,
Mm-hmm.
right? When they say, I want to walk with God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Right.
Now I got to teach you, you know what I'm saying, about the conditions, the requirements of the Lord.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because God requires of us
To do
to
things.
do things
Yeah.
and to be, you know what I'm saying?
That's a part of
And
obedience.
exactly. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're not doing these things and then you're complaining that certain things in your life isn't working out, you have to go back to, okay, am I messing up somewhere in the principle area? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Where am I abandoning God's teachings and requirements?
Mm-hmm. Or go back to the last place that you remember God telling you what to do in your life and start there.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
Tracy, I do everything. Okay, then
But
that
you
shows me
can't.
that showed me there might be a discipline problem or a literacy problem.
I can talk to somebody. Let me say this, and this is, I believe that God has like blessed me tremendously in the area of wealth. I can talk to somebody for 5 minutes and I will know why you're in the position that you're in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I will know why
mm-hmm,
immediately. And I can help people. Like God has given me the ability to help people come higher and come up out of the places that they're in
mm-hmm,
and get to a place where he's called you to be financially
mm-hmm,
and higher than that. Because again, everybody's success is different,
mm-hmm.
right? I might be called to be a billionaire. Somebody else might be called to be a millionaire
Or
or
trillionaire.
whatever that looks like, or even a trillionaire, whatever it is. Like, so everybody's success looks different.
Mm.
But I don't believe that other people should look at us, especially if we're supposed to disciple other people. They should not look at our life and be like, a Christian. I ain't coming over there with you, and you ain't
Yo, God,
even,
there's no favor. There's no
man.
grace over there. There's
This
no
this
milk and
brother
honey. There's no, y'all are busted and struggling. Your
struggling.
father just let you just be out here like this?
Look, you
Ah,
just said it. Your father let you be out here like this? That's how you know
you
something's wrong,
ain't got
because
no
a
daddy.
father,
Where your parents at? Where your parents at? You ever
yeah,
seen a kid just walk? You be like, they ain't got no good parents.
yes,
That's
yeah,
it.
all of that. But you just said it. Like, your father let you be out here like this?
Come
My
on.
father ain't let me be out here
He
like this.
not.
He ain't let me come outside like this. He ain't let you come over my house and ain't no food.
Come on
Like,
now.
that's not his desire. Like, that's not, we have to get to a place where we really understand that God desires more for us. He wants to give to us. He does.
There's so many things that stop people from being prosperous, period. A lot of people are just lazy.
Oh, lazy is a very big
A lot of
factor.
people are ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have access to
Blind.
information.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, like you said, are seeing things through their trauma
Mm-hmm.
and they need to be healed. You know, a lot of people are walking in fear
Mm-hmm.
and they need to be healed.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 4 things I can come up with that are stopping people from being successful. And then so those are the internal factors, but there also are external factors.
Right.
But one thing is we serve a God
Mm-hmm.
that is greater than he who is in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're sitting here worried about an external factor, then you need to recheck your heart posture with the Lord, your trust in God. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because it don't matter what's going on. You got to understand that God got you. And let me tell you why he got you. Because God even has a plan that when he even does come down to bring destruction, he's marking his own.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always a plan for his children.
Always
no
a
matter
plan.
what's going on, there is a marking on your life
Everything works together
for the good of those who love him
Mm-hmm.
and who are called by his name
name.
for his purpose. So that's one thing you have to remind yourself when the negative thoughts start to creep in. You got to hold that thought captive, and then you have to begin to remind or speak back. Open up your mouth and speak back and say, no, this is what thus says the Lord. This is what the scripture says. And then plant your feet on that word.
The word is like voice activated.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes back to what we were saying, is like, you got to know how God sees you. Because if you don't know how God sees you, you can't speak back to.
You see how I just speak back?
And pops in your head.
Not a lot of people can't do that.
Yeah.
And so they're defeated.
Know. You think because you just got saved and you accepted Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior that it stops there.
That everything is now on automation.
No,
it's all on autopilot.
It's not. You have to get to know your Father. And the more you get to know your Father, like if you have a real parent or a guardian or whoever that is, how would you know how would you know who they are if you don't spend time with them?
Mm-hmm.
How would you know what their expectations are of you if you don't spend time with them?
Mm-hmm.
How would you know any of this stuff?
You wouldn't know them.
You wouldn't.
You know, I know when my mama's walking versus when my daddy is walking.
Mm-hmm.
And I
because
can be in a bed because I
know
your walk. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Even when she's fiddling with the dishes, I know when it's my mom doing it and when it's my dad. Mm-hmm. That's the level we need to get with God.
You need
that
to
when
know.
Something is happening, you like, that's the finger of the Lord right there.
That's God right there.
I already know that's the finger
of the Lord.
God.
That ain't God.
That ain't God. You could be able to look at a situation and know if it's your daddy or not in that situation.
Mm-hmm. You should.
But that's why a zebra, during the first, I want to say the first several months, goes off with their cub so that the cub can get to know them. That's what the mother does. When a zebra has a baby, they go off. That baby spends nothing but time with the mom.
Wow.
She don't go. The mom, they disappear because the baby has to get to know the mom's voice, how the mom itself. Then they go back to the rest of the herd. You know what I'm saying? The rest of the zebras. But that's so interesting to me because that's why alone time with God, quality time with God helps you to not only understand, how God smells, tastes, feels. You know what I'm saying? You know how he moves. You know his character. All of these things because you spent time with him. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are like, well, how do we know you hear you God's voice? Well, my number one question back to you is, are you spending time with the Lord?
That's how you know.
That's how you know.
That's how you know.
That's how you know. And you know that you know. He says, my people will know my voice, and another voice they will not follow.
Right. Yeah.
But guess what? We can say that. And that's the thing. I want to teach people. I don't want to just throw scriptures at people, but I have to tell you that, yes, he says another voice you could follow, but that don't come automatic. That come with time. Right. Spending with him.
Mm-hmm. It's the truth. Lastly, I'll say, remember I was telling you yesterday or it may have been the day before, is how someone had given a testimony on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. And then I responded with, Jesus is still in the healing business. Mm-hmm. And then there's some random person that came and said something about, how do you know, or why doesn't he heal more, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then, but before that, like when I said Jesus was in the healing business, like before I even responded with that, immediately I heard in my head, don't do that on a LinkedIn post. Don't do that because this is supposed to be a professional page.
God's coming to claim territory. We going on LinkedIn, Facebook, everything.
Yeah, but then I knew immediately that's not you, God, because you would never stop me from giving somebody your word, your glory, No, you would never stop me from that. So I knew immediately that was not you, God. So what I do, typed it anyway.
Don't nobody care about no God don't care about nobody LinkedIn.
He don't care.
He got
He
souls to
don't care what
save.
this is for. He
He
don't
don't
care.
care. Y'all live in this
But
world, but y'all becoming like y'all of it right now.
right, but another thing is for some people they would have stopped in their tracks and not did it because they would have thought, "Oh my gosh, I could lose my job. I don't care." Do you know what I'm saying?
But
Like,
God is your supplier.
yes, and I know that. So if I lost the job, he going to give me another one, or if I lost my business, he going to give me another one, or if I lost, you know what I'm saying?
He gonna give you.
Like
He's a
he's going
supplier.
he the favor that I walk in with
But
God is so magnificent.
mhm,
So
mhm.
I can't worry about you trying to stop me
but
from
see,
saying something about my God.
but see, you've tried, Lord. A lot of people scared to even just try. You know, what I'm saying? I'm not even gonna try. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because 2, 3 months, 6 months, You know what I mean? It's just some people don't try. You talk so boldly, but that's because you got experiential knowledge with God. And I
But
think,
experience is the teacher of fools. I be trying to tell people it's the teacher of fools. The reason I am where I am is one, because yes, there are things that I've tried that did not work and I had to turn and be like, all right, God, what you got for me? And I had to do that. There's other times where there have been people who have spoken into my life who have already gone through these things and like, hey, don't do that. Don't go over there. Don't do that. And that's wisdom. You know what I mean? We keep talking about we got to experience all this stuff in order to come out on the other side. Experience is literally the teacher of fools. You do not have to go through experiences just to know where not to go.
when God already told you this is what it is,
Somebody's walked this path that you're trying to do.
yeah.
If you're trying to get into, and again, I'm gonna use the Airbnb business. If you're trying to get into short term, midterm, all that kind of stuff, rentals, there's 10 other people that have already done it. They know the failures, they know what to do, not to do, all that stuff. I don't say pay somebody thousands of dollars to find out that knowledge, but there are people that can teach you instead of you jumping out there doing it and then trying to figure out on your own and then you fall and like that's dumb to me. That's what I mean by the experience as a teacher of fools. Like, let's
Not
you
if somebody's already did it and you could just
yeah,
get the knowledge and not have to go through the same things.
right. And that's for me, it was a lot when I got into the business. A lot of it for me was trial and error because I didn't have anybody to, but then I met a friend who she was like, don't do that. This is what's working for me. And so then we connected and we shared back and forth. This was what for me, this. And then we found ourselves not getting into situations that we shouldn't have got into because it was wisdom in the room. Do you know what I mean?
Lady wisdom.
Wisdom.
Mm,
And that's what we have to start doing. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping people, and you are too,
yeah.
is because it's okay to help people come up higher. We ain't gotta break the bank to do it. We ain't got to. Let's
Mm-mm.
help people be better so that we can see. And then you know what? To me, favor goes a long way when you
Mhm.
help other people.
Yes, it
And
does.
then when they get in their position, they gonna be like, "Oh, she helped me."
Hey, you never know where they
And
bring
we don't
you.
know who they know. And it's all, if we could just work better together as people in general,
Hmm.
this would, man, can you
That's good.
imagine?
But I
We
think
need to
they
be
need a
having
mindset. I
conversations like
think,
this.
bro, huh?
We wouldn't even be having
We
conversations like
didn't,
this.
but we're having it because of fear, trauma, lack of knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
all these different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to get through that. And when we can get through that, they can start to see that helping someone doesn't mean your detriment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think we did a really good job at saying, okay, guys, your mindset, what you're having, what you're thinking, your fears and everything, this is what God says about it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, give that up and receive the word of the Lord.
Just receive it.
Give that up. Don't just God said it. He talked about being prosperous. He was leading Israel into a land where they all they had to do was worship them, but they would have everything they needed.
But they look
This the
backwards.
same God
They
that's
look
trying to,
backwards.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? That same God has not changed. He's still trying to get his people to be in a land flowing with milk and honey.
Yeah.
And that's now going to be heaven. So he has good plans for us.
Good plans.
To prosper
Plans to
us.
Jeremiah 29:11.
11.
To not harm us. So if you're being harmed,
and to give us a hope
yeah,
and a future, because he knows that hope deferred sickens the heart. He don't want us sick.
he don't.
He
That's
wants
why
us
I'm like,
whole.
he doesn't want us to go through again. Getting your word. That's I'm not even because we could go down. We about to go down a whole.
Get in your word, y'all.
Just
There's so many nuggets in your word.
and
There's
if
so
you don't know,
much.
just email us. You can email us at info at facelessconversations.com. You could go on
Yes.
our website, facelessconversations.com.
Yes.
We are here to help. And again, there's that budget thing on there. It's $29.99, and that is it. And we will help you get where you need to be.
God bless you. We love you. And don't nobody else tell you anything different.
Mm-mm. Goodbye.